The boundary to what we can accept is the boundary to our freedom. Tara Brach. Welcome again to the third day of our 12-day mental well-being challenge. As I mentioned, this is take 2. I have no idea what happened to the live that we did this morning. Somehow we can't seem to trace the video. So I'm back once again over the hour of lunch to spend a few moments talking about building our mental health capacity. Have you ever considered the fact that you are a billion-dollar asset? You are complex, you are intricate, you are unique. The psalmist says, fearfully and wonderfully made, a combination of spiritual, physical, emotional, mental, and social spheres, all of which are crucial to your overall well-being. And yet, how often do you take time to ensure that you are servicing each of these parts of yourself? Each of these dimensions contributes to your success at work, and ignoring any, failing to tune in and pay attention and make corrections if necessary, is a recipe for disaster. We'll service our cars like clockwork, but we shy away from taking the time to go for an annual physical, and we are definitely not going to consider seeking help if we're feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or stressed. And we're not going to use that D word, because that's a sign of weakness, right? Wrong. A billion-dollar asset will erode in value very quickly if it's not looked after. And a key part of looking after any asset is taking it for a regular service. To keep a car going, you have to fill it with petrol, check the oil and water regularly, and give your tires some air, and send it in every so many kilometers for a service. But how often do we take the time to reflect on whether we are giving ourselves what we need to flourish and live well? May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Thank you for joining me as we take time to service our billion-dollar asset. Today, let's talk about self-compassion. If you're here with me, please do give a shout out, say hi in the comments, and I promise I will say hi back as we continue with our brief conversation. Self-compassion. That's our theme for today. The reality is many of us are highly self-critical. We spend a lot of time putting ourselves down. I heard someone say once that if we were able to listen to the words we use to describe ourselves, when we talk to ourselves, that self-talk that is ongoing throughout the course of the day, we would be horrified because we wouldn't speak to anyone else the same way. When you pay attention, you will recognize that the soundtrack is one that's very negative. You're not doing enough. You're not meant to be happy. You will never fit in. People don't like you. You are unlikable. Not good enough. There are so many things that we say over and over. And like I said, if we were able to record ourselves, we would be shocked. The funny thing is, we appear on the surface to be content and happy with who we are. But deep down inside, there's a part of us that believes those lies, and they really are lies that we tell ourselves. We must practice self-compassion. The idea is to love yourself first. Carl Rogers puts it this way: the curious paradox is that when I accept myself just as I am, then I can change. Practice self-compassion. And that requires paying keen attention to the messages that you tell yourself and shifting those messages, changing the way you speak to yourself. Because the reality is, those things that you say as absolutes aren't really true. So what do we mean when we say love yourself? It often makes sense in our head as a concept, but our heart isn't always aligned. Loving yourself is accepting and nurturing whatever is inside of you, even when, especially when, what is inside of you is uncomfortable. This isn't to say that you are content to remain the way that you are. Quite the opposite. The idea is to embrace who you are so that you can begin on that journey towards change. Self-compassion means validating those emotions, even the ones that make you feel uncomfortable. Again, it doesn't mean that because you feel a certain way, you then act out that way. In fact, when we pay attention to our emotions, we're more likely to navigate them appropriately. When you allow your feelings to be heard, what happens is that they begin to transform. It is said, when we name it, we begin to tame it. I'd like to share with you a tip or the challenge for today. Remember, our theme is self-compassion. I'll share a link in the comments once I've finished with this live. And it will take you to a tool that you can utilize. It is a 10-minute meditation on self-compassion from Tara Brach called the RAIN method. And it's really helpful, especially when you have a mind or when you have in mind a difficult situation or an emotional state you may currently be experiencing. It doesn't need to be a big or it doesn't need to be dramatic, but having something specific in mind is helpful for this type of meditation. For example, right now, I'm feeling a little frustrated with myself because I've not taken the steps forward that I need to take. And this frustration has been building. So as you do the meditation, have something in mind as you begin to practice self-meditation. I hope that this meditation will help you and it will be transformational for you as it has been for me. Remember, the curious paradox is that when I accept myself just